Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep. Peter, do you love me? Feed my lambs. Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep. These are the three things that Jesus asked Peter before he told him this. I'm going to build my church on you, Peter. Peter was the least likely. Peter was the one that if you saw all the 12 disciples, you would have probably thought Judas would have did a better job before you knew what Judas was going to do. Peter cussed. Peter was quick to anger. He cut off an ear. He was that guy. But he was also an expert at fishing. And what I loved about Peter is Peter was very obedient. Jesus comes up behind Peter and he's trying to fish and catch fish, and he's not really making a great return. But he's been a fisherman his whole life. And Jesus, who was not an expert fisherman, comes up behind him and says, cast your net to the other side. And without a word, he does. And there's so much they can't even hardly bring this thing up. Peter was the perfect example of why God does what he does. Because Peter didn't find himself worthy. God made him worthy. He didn't find himself worthy. I had this prophetic dream last night, and it was so good. It was so good. And I had a dream that I was in this large office space at the top penthouse suite. And I'm looking around at all of these women. One is in recovery. One comes out of an abusive situation. One comes out in a suit from an office. And I'm leading these women. But I'm leading in a different way. I am feeding people. And I'm thinking, well, I'm thinking about my guy in his office. I'm thinking about where I'm usually at. I'm thinking about, this isn't a church. And I look down and I see that we have all of these orders to feed people. I'm making hamburgers the way I make them for my family. And they're selling like hotcakes. We literally just slapped ourselves on DoorDash. And it's me and these women cooking for a community of people. And they're coming. They're coming in hot. And as we're cooking, I'm realizing that this is how I cook for my family. And they want it. Like they're hungry for it. And I hear audibly at the end of the dream, you're feeding so many people. And I wake up and I ask God if this is something that I need to take to you as well. And he said, yeah. Seasons are shifting and our jobs may look a little different than they used to. Your purposes are the same essentially, but you may be doing this in a new avenue. You may be working in a new way. But you are feeding so many people already and you don't even realize it. You're feeding them because you're the same person back here as you are up here. You're the same person all around. And I remember when I looked down at the bag, this man's name was Bobby Brenner. I don't know how I knew that, but I looked down and in my mind I'm going, I know Bobby Brenner. It's interesting. And in my mind, the name had a recognition with importance. And I don't know what that meant. Other than to say that you are doing things that you didn't assume you'd do. And you may even be about to lead people who are very unlikely. The most unlikely of unlikelies. But if I could tell you anything about this space I was in, is that I really loved these women. I enjoyed them. One was being so honest, and she was literally contouring her nose with lipstick. She was having a hard time. She was very small and slender and not in a healthy way. And she was saying, I keep trying to not smoke. I keep trying, but it's just like the only thing I can do to not go get high. But even in this, she was being so honest. And she had this great desire to feed people. And she did it well. She wasn't burdening people down with her problems. She was just telling the truth about what was going on in her life. And the women were coming up beside her and brushing her hair and just fixing her crown, all in the private, quiet space. I don't know what you do or what God is calling you to, and you may not even know what the new season looks like. But you're feeding so many people and you don't even know, and you're feeding them well. And it's like nothing to you because it's what you always do. It's going to be new and you're going to think you don't know what you're doing, but it's going to be actually effortless if you just realize that this is who you are all the time. All you got to do is be yourself. Leading may look different in the space that you lead, but lead well. Because you're doing a good job, Peter. Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep. Peter, do you love me? Feed my lambs. Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep. These 3 instances of love meant 1, do you love me like a human? 2, do you love me like a friend? 3, do you love me unconditionally? Agape, Peter, would you do anything for me? Peter wasn't as well versed as Jesus. He wasn't really assured of what Jesus was asking. He just thought he was being asked over and over the same question. But he wasn't. Jesus asked, do you love me in every way possible? Do you love me enough to lay everything down for me? So my question to you today is, Peter, do you love me? Good. Feed my lambs. You may be the most unlikely, but the most unlikely became the MVP. He uses the things that are dumb to confound the wise, and I can say people are always unsure of how I made the spaces that I made wherever I am. I would be too if it wasn't for God. I would sit back and go, how did I ever do all of those beautiful things? It was God. And it was because I was the least likely. Favor and anointing plays a card, but God always chooses the least of these, the least likely. It makes them great. And it's not because we're great. It's His greatness through us. And His confidence in us gives us confidence in ourselves. Go feed the sheep God gave you. They're hungry.